Hey friends, Krista Lowe here, as always coming to you from Martinsburg, West Virginia. I hope you're having a great week. It is Thursday here, the sun's shining outside. I'm almost completely done setting up my classroom and I'm super excited about that. But I just wanted to share today, I don't know how many of you teachers, especially teachers of little people, when you have to introduce long division, it's kind of a struggle for students to get how to handle doing the extra steps in division, right? And for the first few years of teaching, this was something that was really hard for my students to grasp. Hey, Elizabeth. And I asked for some help. And again, I've talked about her before. Her name is Wanda Bradshaw. She's a great friend, but I went to her because she teaches third grade. And I said, man, I need some help. My kids are just really struggling with division. And so the other day I mentioned to you guys that I would, it's been about a month ago, I told you I was going to do one on division for you. And so I'm finally here and have just a little bit of time. I'm in my classroom. So I'm going to show you a super easy way. This was a game changer for me. I do it every year now, and it totally transformed how much quicker my students grasp the concept. So I'm going to jump in and share that to you just in 1 second. If you're hopping on here live, thank you so much. I know it's the middle of the day and you can be very busy right now. So thank you. If you are watching live, maybe tell me where you're coming in from. And actually, if you're watching on replay, tell me too. I would love to know that you watched it. So just comment replay, maybe tell me where you're watching from. Maybe put the day that you go back to school. I know some of us are already back in school, some of us aren't. We start in-service training next week, and then our kids come back August 20th. So maybe you can tell me when your kids are coming back. I'd like to hear that. Okay, so I'm going to jump in now, and I'm going to actually use my chalkboard to help me. I had to flip my camera. Hey, Ginger, one of my teacher friends, Elizabeth too. So I'm going to, I flipped my camera screen. Have anyone that ever does Facebook Lives or anything, do you know that you can flip the way that the image is shown? And it's just the weirdest thing though, because it's all backwards. And anyway, so I'm going to try to do my best. But so here goes. First off, at the beginning of the year, even when my students are doing really, really simple division, I stress over and over again the 5 steps to division. And I'm sure maybe you guys use the same steps, especially if you're using a Becca, divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. We go over that over and over and over again so they know these steps really, really well. And and we do hand motions, and they're like so simple, but hand motions really make a difference for, at least in my experience, for the students to really get what that is that you're teaching, and it really helps them to memorize it. So for like the 5 steps to division, literally all we go is, what do? We go divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Like that's what we do every time we're doing that. Does anyone else agree with me about hand motions? I would love to hear your thoughts or advice on that, because I'm always looking for different hand motions to use. So anyway, so we definitely learn the 5 steps to division. We drill them over and over again, and then we break into the division problems. And I'm just going to show you at first. Okay, so say we do 15 divided by 3. Another thing that has really, really helped, and I hate, guys, you can't really see the colors. Hopefully this is going to show up for you, because this trick really, you need 2 different colors for it. Okay, so say we're doing 15 divided by 3. I also teach them really early on to decide if 3 can go into 1. Since it can't, they draw a line over to the 5. I'm watching this because I never got this when I was in 4th grade. Always felt intimidated. Oh, Mrs. Nelson, I'm sorry. But drawing that line over top the first number that the divisor can go, the first number and the dividend that the divisor can go into, it really is, really helps the kids, because they start to get messed up the bigger the numbers go. So I can always say, where did you draw your line? And being able to say that to them. Does anyone else do this where you draw a line? I'd love to hear that. So we draw a line, and then I'm able to always be reminding them, where do you draw that line to? So here is the part I'm going to show you. I hope that the colors will show up a little bit better for you. Here's the trick, okay? So you've been waiting for it. Give me some hearts if you want to see what the trick is to help your students get long division. Hey, Mariah. Come on, someone give me a heart. I appreciate it. Okay, so here is the trick that totally changed it for me and for my students. So I'm gonna go back to the number 3, and let's say we're going to go into, let's do 63. Okay, so we have 63 divided by 3. I would teach the kids, of course, can 3 go into 6? Yes, so they would draw a line above the 6. Might have to try the line thing this year. Long division is such a killer for a line. The line, Brittany, the line makes such a difference. I don't know what it is, but especially if you start it early in the year and you teach them to be confident about that, when they start to doubt themselves as their division problems get longer, I will repeatedly, where'd you draw the line? Okay, well, your answer has to be, your first answer has to be above that line because that's where you drew the line at, and it really helps. And so we go through the 5 steps. So the division, and the second step to division is multiplying. So they know, they'll know that it's 2, right? And so then we'll say, what's next? Multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. And all the way that we're doing this, we're talking about the 5 steps over and over again. We keep going over them. And then I'll say next step, and they'll say subtract, right? And we get here, and they'll say 6 minus 6 is 0. And then we'll do the compare, and they'll say, is 0 less than 3? And they know it's less than 3. This is the part that I started to change. Whenever they get to this step where they have to bring down, when I first teach this, I will have them have a sheet of paper and 2 crayons. And when they get to the first time they have to bring down, I have them switch colors. So we'll switch. You can hardly tell, I hate that, but this is purple, this is yellow. And when they bring down, they switch, guys. And I don't know what it was about switching the colors, but it helped them to understand that, yes, this is the same problem, but when I switch colors, I have to start the steps all over again. So we switch colors, and then we know we have to go up, so we'll go 3 into 3, and then we'll do the multiplication step, and the subtracting, and the comparing, and the bringing down, and there's nothing left to bring down. And just that one little thing of switching colors, guys, made the biggest difference. And so usually about the first, really a couple weeks that we start to begin long division and start to do ones where they're gonna have to do those 5 steps more than once, we will change do it with changing the collar. And another good tip, how many of you like this idea with the changing collars when you have to bring down collars? Guys, I know I'm not saying it right. It's supposed to be color. How many of you like that tip? Maybe drop a comment. Tell me if that was valuable information to you. I would love to know. And then the other thing, guys, that I could maybe suggest that would help you is to get grid paper. And I really couldn't find any big enough for what I wanted, so I just created my own grid. So the first few times that we're doing long division, we do work those problems out on grid paper. So I'm teaching them to keep all of their numbers lined up because raise your hand if you understand, especially when they're first learning division. It seems like sometimes they just put their numbers all over the place, and that totally messes up the answers that they're going to get if they're not putting it in the right spot. So there is your super easy tip to help your students with long division, is just have them mix up the colors that they are using the first time they have to bring something down and start the steps all over again. Have them switch colors, and it's enough. I promise you, there is going to be like a light bulb clicks for them, and they're going to see that they have to start all over again. And it really, guys, this has been transformative for me. So thank you so much for watching. If you have a teacher friend that needs to see this, tag him in the video. If you want to share, that would be, I love shares. If you have any questions or anything else, shoot me a message. I'll answer you personally. And maybe if you need any other tips, I'd be happy to share them. So thanks, everybody. Hope you have a great Thursday. Bye.